From the dawn of humanity to the invention of technology to beings beyond human comprehension, Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film, 2001: A Space Odyssey, covers pretty much everything. And I think that without a shadow of a doubt, this is the greatest film ever made. The themes conveyed in 2001 are still relevant today, and will probably continue to become more and more relevant as technology advances over time. The plot of the film follows astronauts, scientists, and a supercomputer as they embark on a journey through space to Jupiter to investigate a mysterious alien monolith. I first watched 2001: A Space Odyssey in 2024, and I've seen countless modern-day films, but I was still in awe of this film when I watched it. I can't even begin to imagine how viewers in the 60s must have felt when laying eyes on such a groundbreaking film. Everything about it is perfect. The visual and practical effects, the cinematography, the writing, and questions it poses about the nature of humanity's relationship with technology. Two standout aspects of this film are the iconic soundtrack and editing. But honestly, the soundtrack and editing are so iconic and have so many memorable moments that I feel like this would be too easy to talk about. So I want to cover something that can easily be overlooked in a film as epic as 2001, but it truly ties the film together and makes it feel as grand as it is. That aspect is sound. I specifically want to cover the most terrifying scene I think I've ever seen in a movie, and that is when HAL 9000 attempts to kill Dr. Frank. This scene is a key turning point that takes place almost exactly at the midpoint in the film, where our protagonist, Dr. Dave, changes from passive to now active. As complex as this story is, it still follows exactly the story beats that we talked about in class. In this scene, HAL 9000, a supercomputer tasked with helping the astronauts on board accomplish their mission, has falsely identified that there's a problem with the ship's communication antenna. He does this to get Dr. Dave to go outside and check on it, only to attempt to kill him, as HAL now sees the astronauts as a hindrance to the mission. Up until this point in the story, everything has been moving extremely slowly, and this is by design. This scene changes everything. Throughout the whole film, technology has been used to elevate humanity beyond other species and even beyond their own limits. But this scene shows how dangerous and horrifying technology truly can be, and the horror of this scene is perfectly shown through the use of sound design. Let me explain. The scene begins with a minute and a half of shots showing our three key characters in this scene: Dr. Frank, who's in the pod, heading out to the antenna, Dr. Dave, who is inside watching over the mission, and HAL 9000, who's controlling the pod and observing as well. Throughout this entire sequence of cross-cutting, the only thing we hear is the diegetic sound of Dr. Frank's breathing from inside the suit. This creates a sense of intimacy with Frank's character as well as rising tension. It also provides context that becomes a key part of the scene later on. In this shot here, we see the pod that dropped Frank off suddenly turn around and head towards Frank. HAL, the supercomputer, has taken control of the pod and is aiming on attacking Frank. We know this because of the intense close-ups on HAL as this is happening. During these close-ups, the breathing cuts out and all we hear is silence. HAL has severed Frank's oxygen supply. While other filmmakers would use a crescendo in the music or a loud booming sound effects to emphasize a dramatic moment, a key turning point in the film, Kubrick does the complete opposite and makes it go dead silent. In a film with a score as dramatic as 2001, the most intense moment is chosen to be filled with nothing but the sound of the vacuum of space. In this situation, Dr. Frank would not be able to hear anything besides deafening silence. The silence creates a sense of eeriness and solitude as Dr. Frank helplessly drifts through space, with the technology meant to aid him attempting to cause his downfall. Another way the silence increases the impact of this scene is due to the pacing of this film. With a film that moves as slow as 2001, intense moments are far and few between. When I first watched this film and this scene happened, I was in disbelief, very similar to how Dr. Dave on the inside must have been feeling. There's no bang or crash or sound effect to tell us how to feel at this moment. We're just left to observe and take in exactly what we were seeing and try to make sense of it on our own. In this way, the sound in this scene is the focal point. It provides context to what is going on in regards to Frank's breathing, as well as using silence as a means of creating fear and emptiness in the viewer while further immersing them in the story and experiences of the characters.